Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video I'm going to talk about when people grow up in a more than a narcissistic family or dysfunctional family. They grow up in a dysfunctional town or a community or whatever it is that's very, not very, but it's small enough to that whatever it is that is bad about this, it's narcissistic in whatever way, that it becomes a norm, okay, for there. Now, I think we all know that, like, cities and towns have reputations, okay? I've moved around a lot. I've lived in many places other than Texas. I was born and raised here in Texas, and this is Texas. But I've lived in many states, many different towns and cities and everything. Anywhere I have been has had a reputation. The next town over may think of them as some way, and they may think of that next town over as something, whatever it is. And but they all have reputations. And I've already mentioned the reputation that the one I live in now has, is that people have a high sense of entitlement, and just all the way down, that line of a narcissistic. Okay, I call it Narcissismville, and but it's not it actually isn't the whole suburb. See, it's a city in its own right. Suburb of Dallas. It's not just the whole one. It's actually more than one suburb, and it's a little area of that you can, like the roads that run parallel to each other in all directions, north, south, east, west, and in between those, you can feel it. It's like the difference in night and day. And I've mentioned this in many videos, but it's important to this one too. Just imagine the people who were here from the beginning, and then as it developed, and gained this reputation. I heard it like something 30 years ago when I first heard about the place. So I didn't give it the reputation. It was already developed by then. So think how many generations, before, or when it was sometime in the 1800s when the city was founded, the town, and people lived every generation in their family after the next, the parents and the next, their children, their children's children, and so forth. And each of the generations, they developed that this is the norm. Okay, especially back, in a time when you didn't really have that much access to the outside world. Okay, we didn't have internet. TV was 3 channels. It wasn't that much of a selection, and we didn't have the internet, like I said. All of that, you weren't that connected to anything else, and TV was fictional. Okay, so that's how you saw it. But imagine the people who grew up in Narcissismville, that area, and all their generations, and it's so much a part of them that they know nothing else. Okay, how many of you have heard about dysfunctional families? That people who grew up in a dysfunctional family might not understand that's not how the rest of the world lives. That's not a healthy relationship, because that's all they've seen. I'm guessing a lot of people have heard that before. Well, that can also be where you grew up, not just your family. Say when you grow up in a dysfunctional family or a narcissistic family, depending on the size, there might be at least one, who disagrees, who doesn't think this is normal, thinks that this is wrong. The black sheep of the family is what that person might be called. I was actually called that, and told when I was a child, my siblings would say, "You must be adopted. You're totally different than the rest of us." And in my mind, I don't know if I said it back then, was thank you for noticing the difference. But yeah, that was how my mind worked back then. It is now. Thanks for noticing the difference. No, but seriously, somebody in a dysfunctional family, they might play different roles. It's not 100% across the board, by the way. And somebody might recognize it and say, no, this is unhealthy. This is not healthy way to be. Now that person's going to be looked at possibly as they're messed up. They don't know how to think right. Well, this can happen also in a whole community, a whole town, wherever it is, where they have a culture that developed, like this here, Narcissismville. Okay? Think of the people who already are thinking they're never wrong. And the whole culture is that way, like a collective narcissism. And their pride, they're so proud of being the way that they are. They think other people outside of it that call them that are just jealous. You see, because to them, they're never wrong. Think about how they see the people who say, no, other than that, the people who say, no, that's very narcissistic, that's not a good thing. It's dysfunctional. Like I said, they would find something to say about, well, the people who say that, like I just said, are jealous, or they would find something to say. They're just not as educated, or they're not as sophisticated, or they were raised poor, or whatever craziness that they come up with in their mind, some excuse, so they don't have to admit that they're at fault in anything. It's a collective or group narcissism working there. And they're superior. They truly believe, although it's not truly fact, they truly believe, though, that they're superior. Okay, and they ridicule anybody who disagrees. Well, I'm mentioning this because this is the part of that series I'm doing. When you see something, bad behaviors, and you don't want to at all reward, you go to some business or something and you're treated like that, you don't want to reward bad behavior, but they look at you like you're messed up. You should know this is how it goes, because to them, it is how it goes. If you've been watching this series, remember that I said I told Adam that the thing about it these days is not that when some business, like it was the vet's office, when they do something wrong, that if they know the other vet, like this vet knew the other vet, and they know them, one another, it's not about competition that they would, Adam says, well, I told Adam that they would probably do something that they know one another, try to make it difficult for us in some ways. And he said, no, it's all about competition, and they're not, they're competitors, and they're not going to do that. I said, watch, and it did happen. Okay, it did happen. So, because it's all about, like I mentioned, that it's all about the power. It's a collective narcissism. It is that this is the way it's going to be, and that, to them, this is the way it's going to be, and anybody who, you pay for something, you better know, to them, this is how they see it, not me, that you better know that you, the customer, aren't first, okay? You're not important. You have to mind the whatever it is, and you need to, what is the word I'm looking for? Show deference to business owners, no matter what kind, like a vet or whatever. You need to show deference in whatever they tell you, and if they tell you a price that's way out that it shouldn't be, you just have to mind them. Okay? Like you're a child. They're going to, infantilize you and tell you what you're going to do instead of actual customer service. You have to show deference to them. Anyway, the car in front of me is not going right, not driving right, so I'm kind of backing off. But anyway, real life happens in the middle of a video no matter what. But yeah, this kind, Adam was shocked. I think he was totally shocked whenever he saw that I was right on this. Hey, I do have a master's degree in sociology. Yeah, I noticed these things. But yeah, he was shocked. And I was just like, well, I can talk about, I think I already did, talk about how I felt about it. But the problem is becoming desensitized to this kind of stuff. And think about people who live, the ones who have to, like children or whomever, whatever is the situation, and that they have to live there and being subjected to it. It's either, what do you do? That's a whole video onto itself, but there's more that's happened since then. Okay, I tried making a video about it this morning. I did upload it, but it's sad. Okay, So I'll tell that story when I'm not so upset about it. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I said I was going to do this video. And, okay, this woman is driving from the different side of her car. Oh, yeah, real life happens. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. If you want to subscribe to this channel, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media. And I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.